Alright, let's see how we can build a box plot using a TI-84 graphing calculator. To get started, we of course need some data for our box plot. For this example, I went online and I checked out how many students log into eClass during the weekend. The data that I collected for this example was the previous 21 weeks of school. That data is shown in blue on my screen. What we're going to do is take this data and put it into our graphing calculator. To get started, go ahead and click on the Stats button, which is just below the Delete button on your calculator. Once you get here, we are going to stay on the Edit menu on option number 1, Edit. Hit Enter, and this will open up all of the lists that you can enter into the calculator. We're going to use just the leftmost column, which is list number 1, L1. Starting at the very top row, go ahead and put in a 2 for the first data point, followed by a 5, a 7, 15, 20, 12, 15, 7, 9, 3, 15, 21, 30, 15, 5, 7, 15, 31, 2, 5, and 7. Once you put that last data point in, make sure you hit Enter so that all of that data is in your calculator. Once you're ready to go, hit Second, Quit. Now we've put all of this data in, but we need to get our calculator ready to make sure it will be able to show us that stats plot. Let's go ahead and check our y equals screen to make sure that nothing is already plotted here. Notice that there are no equations plotted in y equals. If you do happen to have an equation here, go ahead and clear it out now. If not, we're ready to go. From the main screen, here's how you access your statistical plots. You're going to hit second y equals. The button underneath y equals are the statistical plots, stat plot, and this is where we'll be able to show our plots on the main graph screen. We're going to use plot number 1 today. Notice plot 1 is currently turned off. Go ahead and choose option number 1, hit Enter, and now we'll be able to access the settings for plot number 1. Our cursor should be flashing on the On setting. Let's go ahead and hit Enter there. Next, we need to choose what type of plot we want to represent on our graph. Let's go ahead and pick this first box plot here. So scroll down with your cursor and then over to the right. We're going to choose the first box plot. You may notice there's another box plot right here. The first option will show outliers. The second option will not show outliers. So we're going to choose the first one for now. If you go down one more with your cursor, this is where you can access the various lists that are available for you to plot. Since we put all of our data in stat list number 1, we're going to leave this option selected as list number 1. However, you could change it to list 2, 3, or any other list in the future. Next, we're going to go ahead and hit Graph and see what we're working with. Okay, so there's our box plot, but you'll notice it's a little off center. This is due to the fact that our window is currently set up on a standard window, which is plus or minus 10 for your X and Y axes. If you take a look at our data, notice that our lowest data point is located at 2, and our highest data point is located at 31. Since it's treating the x-axis as our number line, we need to be able to see all of those values on our x-axis on the positive side. So here's what we're going to do. Go ahead and tap on Window, and we're going to adjust our window a little bit so that we do not have these negative x values. So I'm going to hit Clear and start our x-axis at the number 0. Next, I'm going to go down one option to x maximum. The maximum value on the x-axis needs to be able to fit our data. So let's go ahead and select something like 35. I'm going to clear out the 10, replace it with a 35, and hit Enter. Y values are okay the way they are, but if we wanted to exclude the negative values, we could, and it would recenter the box plot. Since we're not concerned with the height of the box plot, we'll go ahead and leave those alone. Hit Graph, and let's see what we have. Okay, that is much better. Now, let's take a look at how we can find these values precisely using our cursor. If you hit the Trace button, which is located right next to the graph, it will anchor the cursor to the box plot directly. From here, it should select the median or another point on the box plot. Notice that the median of this dataset is the number 9. If I select the left or the right cursors, the arrows, it will move my cursor along the graph. Let's go ahead and look at each of these values, starting from all the way to the left. On the far left, we have our lower extreme, which is the value 2. Going right, quartile 1 is located at 5. The median is located at 9. Quartile 3 at 15, followed by our upper extreme, which is 30, and an outlier located at 31. And just like that, we now have a box plot using our TI-84 graphing calculator.